I sent dozens and dozens of emails to pastors with this writing, a Macedonian call. Please come and help us.
The neighborhood is full of really great people, but the homes are falling apart.
They may be poor, but their kids are clean and they're dressed in their best as they come to church.
As poor as they are, there is nothing they will not share with those who come to visit.
Some of the homes are, I describe them as the equivalent to a shed that we might have in our backyard.
It looked like 5 or 6 or 7 children all lived in one room.
Kids are actually living somewhere without an iPod and without TV and without, a car.
I believe that through God I can make a difference in their lives.
It's made me a whole different person, I believe, because it's given me a real purpose.
And He's given me so much. I just have the need to give some of it back.
In 2001, we got an email from a fellow I'd never heard of, Hector Newman.
I was in great expectation that a lot of people were going to answer my, to respond to my email. And for my surprise, just one person answered that email.
And I'll never forget the email because he said, "This is a Macedonian call." I'd never had an email that talked about a Macedonian call before. Hector sent out an email to a lot of places, and Steve was the only response. And he came to the team that had gone on a mission tour the year before. And he said, "What do you guys think about Honduras? And what do you think about this?" And we all said, "Well, we'll try it. We'll go there. That's different. It's, we had a great mission trip last time, but we'll try someplace new."
Well, the first visit came out, and they came 9 people from First Baptist Church of Hanson with Pastor Jude guiding them, and so they arrived in Tegucigalpa. I was so excited, my brother.
He had been recruited as a mission partner and had been promised a certain level of funding. And on that basis, he had gone out, recruited 8 pastors to start 8 new churches, had actually started building 3 churches at that point. And it wasn't long before he realized that the funding that he had been promised, maybe at this level, was going to come in at this level. And so this guy began selling his furniture. He sold his car. He had his truck up for sale. And he had plans, as soon as our group went, to move to more modest quarters, rent out his house, so that some of the money he had promised to these 8 pastors and churches that he was starting, that they would get something. At the end of the week, Steve sat us all down and we had kind of a debriefing at the end of the week, and he said, "Well, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a mission that you could sink your teeth into?" And unanimously, we all said yes.
At this point, we can count 22 churches, and I can see so many people that have been helped, and today they are living a better life that they used to live before. One email.
Well, I have a little friend, Eduardito, and the school was putting on a pageant. Very serious kind of thing. They were showing us what they could do. And Eduardo was doing his cartwheels and spinning around and whatever the case may be. And they were trying to get him to be quiet. Sometimes he can quiet him down, but not always. But he was really wound up this night. And he would come over and every once in a while and stare in my face like a challenge, And after a while, I just picked him up and sat him in my lap. And he calmed down, he was quiet, which everybody was happy for because, he was disrupting the program as he tends to do. And I would say he was sitting there about 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, there's this warm sensation in my lap and down my legs, and I realized he had just urinated. And I'm like, oh, my first instinct was to get him off my lap. But then I thought, and I said, I can go back to the hotel and I can change. I can go back and I can take a shower. But for some reason, this kid is comfortable here. He's being quiet, And I says, I can deal with it. And so I dealt with it. And I mean, it would seem that would be a bad memory, but it's a good memory because I think he felt comfortable enough or whatever. Or he said, here's a guy I can abuse. I don't know.
Most of the people that we serve in Honduras is labor people, poor people and labor people. And these are the kind of community where no churches are.
Hector is very careful about planting churches in areas where they're badly needed. You know, unlike up here, you know, he's not putting a church across from another church. He's putting them in areas where there's poorer people and they can get there. People walk a mile or two to get there. And it's not only on a Sunday, you know, it's on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night.
Part of the strategy in planting churches is for each church to discern and to figure out a way how they can reach out into their immediate community and to have an impact of encouragement, of serving.
The churches down there provide a central base, I guess you could say, for a neighborhood. The church is turned into a community center.
It's a gathering place for the people in the area. It's a safe place for everybody to gather, so that it's used more than for church services.
They're also helping people with clothing, with the clothing we bring down. They're helping people to know where they can get nutritious food. You know, they're helping people to live and to realize that there's hope. It's not like your children don't have to grow up and be in the same condition for the rest of their life as you have. You know, there can be another way.
Not only does it help with their faith, but it gives them a constant in their life. And especially for the kids, they don't have that. There's very few things they can count on. Parents, sometimes, they can't really count on them depending on their situation. They never know what's going to happen next in their life. But with the church there, they will have some place to go.
Education is huge. There's no doubt about it. Christian education with the remedial school of Compassion International is part of their curriculum, so there's a solid base of teaching the Bible, but also hygiene and good nutrition and some of the culture, the dancing that is demonstrated is Honduran way of developing and teaching the kids about their Honduran culture. And so education, reading, and basic foundation like arithmetic or a skill helps to give them the tools to break the cycle of poverty.
We have so many things going on that reaching in the communities for people who young people, kids. You know, the Sunday school is beautiful. A lot of children coming to the Sunday school, and young people to their services. They are leaving gangs and coming to the church to get a new way of life.
If these churches weren't there, I think the alternative for these kids would be the local gangs. I think that's Hector's biggest competition. Because if the churches don't get a handle on these kids, the gangs are gonna.